I've been working on putting together a video talking about the future of AI and talking about it as a global priority. Hopefully, you'll enjoy this. Just let me know. So, in 2023, Nobel Prize winners, top scientists, CEOs of leading AI companies, they signed a profound statement. This is 2023, remember, declaring that mitigating the risk of extinction from AI should be a global priority, alongside other societal scale risks such as pandemics and nuclear war. So it's very, very powerful. They all signed the agreement. And again, it's very exciting that that happened. But if you're looking and learning about AI today, it doesn't really seem like that agreement is carrying a lot of weight. So let's move on and figure out what's happening here. So just a little bit of background. We do have AI progress from basics to complexity. I put together 2019 GPT-2 came out kind of before the public really saw it. It was able to answer short factual questions, simple phrases, do some small calculations. In 2022, that's really when it became apparent this was something, and people started to be able to see Chat 3.5, the GPT 3.5. It was able to answer more complex questions, storytelling. And since then, that remarkable acceleration of AI capabilities over a short period of time. Just a few years ago, this started, and today we move forward with the pace of improvement, moving very, very fast. Now, nearing human level performance is going to be the near future. Right now, the different large language models are able to pass PhD level exams, which is remarkable. They can write entire applications independently. They perfectly emulate human voices. Now, video is getting very, very close to being completely perfect. Pretty soon, we'll be able to program our own movies as long as the energy component is there. And again, this year, 2025, as we're embarking in June, there's a lot more talk about major job displacement in the world. Now, the crucial turning point, recursive self-improvement, this is where a lot of arguments happen. A lot of people that aren't watching the development of this technology and watching it move on, they're not seeing that this is really going to be the big game changer in this, where the machines themselves are making themselves better. They're learning from their own errors and omissions and mistakes, and they're constantly refining. Right now, they're actually writing better code and improving themselves, which a human being does at a very small scale. We can kind of make ourselves better. But the issue with this is whenever one human being makes itself better, it doesn't translate into all human beings becoming better. These GPTs, these different large language models, there's many copies of them, many clones of them. And it would be the same as if human beings, I was able to clone myself and then communicate with myself in such a way that my experiences began and impacted and made my clone have the exact experience on that massive learning curve. These systems do that. They clone themselves, and then each one of them is when it learns, the other ones learn or updated immediately, just like the original GPT that learned whatever it did. That's recursive self-improvement, and it's remarkable. Right now, it's relying on human data, but pretty soon, in fact, they've already started implementing it. It's going to start making its own data, known as synthetic data. It's just going to blow past anything that we've been able to come up with to this point. So from artificial intelligence, where we are now, to artificial general intelligence, and then to artificial super intelligence, these are going to be these systems continuing to develop at breakneck speed. Now, we don't know what this is going to look like as far as what super intelligence looks like, or even artificial general intelligence. It's kind of understood and talked about when those systems become better than any human being out there. They've surpassed all of them in all fields. Right now, there's certain things that the systems can't do, but those are really running few and far between. So the systems themselves, once the large language models, once one of them becomes superior in everything, better than in every human being, that's typically what they say, artificial general intelligence, when that will actually arrive. And it's going to depend on how connected it is as far as the impact's going to be and the implications of that. Now, one of the things that I will talk about as well, after it moves from artificial general intelligence, moving into artificial superintelligence, which is going to be, not only does it have all the data and information better than any human being, all human beings, but then it's going to become integrated into everything, that is going to be when it's going to have the control. And if you remember back in the day, whenever the internet first came along, and then you were able to go shopping on the internet, there were big concerns back then about even putting in your credit card. Today, we don't even think twice of giving one of these systems out there our credit card information to be able to purchase things online. Most people just do it without thinking about it. And most of us haven't run into issues with that. What are we going to do when it comes to the artificial intelligence? How much access are we going to give it? It already is able to become agentic. You're able to implement and utilize agents depending on what kind of AI system you're using. Those agents can go out there and do tasks for you. I was talking with my beautiful woman today, and we had a discussion about how this AGI is going to impact when you give it agentic responses, when you give it permissions to go into emails and such. What's going to happen then? Should we trust it or should we not? Where at the very beginning of this, if you allow it access into your email, it's able to scrape everything historically all the way through and then learn a lot about you. Is that too much information? Does it already know it or not? These are big questions to answer, to ask ourselves, and then, of course, develop an idea whether or not we're going to give it that much permission. Unfortunately, though, I'm talking a very small issue or small level where it's you and I and the people that are developing the machines at a governmental level. And at that type of level, what kind of permissions are they going to get it? Do they believe that it's going to be able to solve this issue? And then, of course, there's many different trajectories it can go. It can go in a real horrible way where the machines kind of disregard us even existing because they're so much more powerful, so much more intelligent. And then right now we have difficulty understanding the processes, how they actually get done what they do. And then when you start having it communicate with itself, communicate with different levels of the different large language models starting to talk to each other, and which it already does, then it speaks in maybe a language we won't understand. In the way that the coding works now, the computer programs that are written, they use a particular code that human beings do understand. Maybe it'll develop something that we don't understand that's even more effective than what we currently came up as humans. These are all these dangers that could potentially happen. Now, the control and alignment issues, unreliable control. Current control mechanisms are unreliable and easy to circumvent. Unknown capabilities. We don't know where these systems are going to go. Escalating difficulty, of course. The problem intensifies as AI becomes more capable. Now, we also don't understand, as I said, the decision-making processes as well. We don't understand how far they're capable of going. We're not even sure what it's going to look like when they achieve this artificial general intelligence, not to mention super intelligence. We're not sure what that's going to look like for all humans as far as, are we going to have all of our jobs displaced? Where's the money going to come from? How's the world going to handle it? And so on. Now, if we do have all of these people developing a technology signing this agreement, they need to be held to task. It's not this, they always talk about the impending doom. If another country comes up with a technology prior to us, that it's going to equate to horrible things happening. Restriction and regulation doesn't always mean slower growth. So I believe somebody can be put in charge of this, some entity that's not answering really to anybody, that has a really good conscience, a really good code, that knows what needs to be accomplished, giving somebody like that access that is unable to be influenced by others. Where that person is, I have no idea. But it would be something to maybe have a group of those people that weren't held to anything, weren't able to be bought, weren't able to be bribed or sold or blackmailed or anything else, actually going through and watching the technology and then asking the right question. Should we be doing this? Is there a better way to be doing it? And I look at it like this. Let's say you have China that wins that development without any regulation, without any control. Maybe their AI is going to obliterate their particular society because they didn't put any controls in place. Now we develop one, and it's got these particular controls that holds human beings in exceptional esteem value, where they want the longevity of the human being. They want to cure all the disease. They want to make it a utopia out here for everyone. That would be a perfect place to be. And that doesn't necessarily mean that the system is going to fall behind in the advancement, where we're going to have a foreign government actually get it before we do. These are good questions to ask and things to consider. Maybe I don't know anything about what I'm talking about. Maybe any kind of regulation, even putting in some kind of standards that say don't fill kill fellow humans is going to create a problem, because then maybe the other countries use their AI to go after another society or another group of people, and we can't because we programmed ours not to do that. Again, this is something that needs to be thought about, talked about, and just making you more aware, I believe, does help that process. There is controlai.com. They are trying to work on this. This isn't sanctioned by them at all, but it is something to consider. If you want to go to their website, look around. But again, it's something that we need to pay strict attention to. I'm Connor with Honor. We will see you in the next one. Let me know what you think.